So we have a major problem on our hands, and many people are saying that President Biden is the one that caused this. So what I need you to do is stick around for this entire video so I can explain what is going on and how this is going to impact every single one of us in the upcoming calendar year. Now, I am sure by now everybody has heard of the possibility of a railroad strike that could have occurred. It has essentially been blocked by Congress, but this is also creating many problems. What happened was railroad workers were negotiating with the railroads for about 3 years. They didn't get a deal done. President Biden stepped in, helped negotiate. It didn't work. Then he urged Congress to block the strike. They did that. Now, this is why it's setting up additional problems moving forward. It's setting up problems simply because experts say it sets a terrible precedent that Congress had to step in and block workers from negotiating their contract with their employer. That's why it's bad. However, other experts say this is a good thing, and here's why. According to recent reports, it was stated that the U.S. economy would lose roughly $2 billion per day if railroad workers went on strike. Well, they didn't, so we will not lose $2 billion per day. The other good news is that without a strike, this means that the 115,000 railroad workers will still be at work. They will not be let go. The other big news is that we also heard reports that 360,000 additional workers would lose their jobs simply because the railroad workers would go on strike. So, we now know that about 485,000 workers will not lose their jobs because of the strike. That's good news. But again, here is where this is turning into a major problem. And I want to explain this because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, this is great. This is really good for the U.S. economy. It is in a way, but again, it sets a terrible precedent. And I want to explain why. So here's what we know. Railroad workers are accepting the fact that Congress is forcing them back to work. So as of December 9th, they will not go on strike. They are okay with that, but they're not okay with Congress forcing them back to work. So what they're going to do, at least according to recent reports, they're going to do something that is called a silent strike. Now, what exactly is that? Well, it's actually something that's pretty simple. Workers cannot go on strike. So what they're going to do, they're going to go to work, they're going to clock in, and they are either going to do a very poor job or they're just going to sit there. They're not really going to do much of their work. That is what they're calling a silent strike. This means they're not going to move cargo. They're not going to work on the locomotives. They're pretty much going to do absolutely nothing, but they're going to clock in first. So technically they are at work. And you're probably wondering, well, why would they do this? What's the purpose? Well, again, according to this same report, workers feel like, and I quote, that they are setting a bad precedent for the rest of the world. And they also say that they feel if they accept the ruling by Congress, that this is going to eliminate all of their negotiation power in the future. And I can tell you right now, it will. But it's not just railroad workers that are going to lose their negotiation power. What about other people that are either represented by a union or not, but are considered vital to the U.S. economy? For example, pilots and truckers, port workers. What happens to them if they contemplate going on strike or not? Well, if government officials believe that this is going to be detrimental to the U.S. economy, then they could come out and force Congress to say, you know what? No, you're not going on strike. Get back to work. And this right here is why the fact that Congress came out and blocked a railroad strike, this is why some are saying that this is not over, that we are just beginning, because now the fight is not just with the railroads, it's with Congress, it's with President Biden himself. And now, I've been very fortunate, here on this channel and here in the community to have many people that work for the railroads. And I actually got to talk with a couple. And these two people, they were able to tell me what they are thinking, but also what their workers are thinking as well. And one person had this to tell me, and I quote, "It's not over. We are still going to fight for paid sick leave or less restrictions. there are not a lot of options on the table for us now, but we could always walk away from the job, which myself and at least 15 others in my crew are highly considering. So that's a possibility. Another person told me, the federal government should have stayed out of the contract negotiations. Now that they have blocked a strike from happening, the next option for us is a silent strike. And as long as everybody does it together, our bosses will need to take us seriously and negotiate in good faith. Now, I was able to talk to this person a little bit more, and they really opened my eyes up to what is a silent strike. But what they are saying right here is, if everybody goes on a silent strike together, clocks into work, but doesn't actually do the work, then this would it would play a huge role, and it would make the railroads negotiate directly with them. Because what's their other option? Their other option as a railroad, as a business, is to fire these employees. Well, they don't have enough employees. This is the problem. If one or two people do it, yeah, the employee would likely be let go. But if the entire crew comes on, clocks in, doesn't do any work, doesn't move any cargo, then and only then the railroads would have to take them extremely serious. But again, there's kind of risk versus reward. Now, I don't know if Congress could step in at this point. If they do, I don't see how it would really work. Because again, you can't just go to a employment agency and say, you know what, my conductor, he's not coming in, he's not doing his job. I got 10 conductors, they're not doing their job. Can you send me over 10 new conductors? It doesn't work like that. Now, it's easier if you are, a janitor. It's easier if there's something that you are doing that doesn't require any additional training. But when you are an engineer, a conductor, right? You have a pivotal role in the railroads. It's hard to be replaced. You can't just find a replacement just by saying, hey, pick up your phone and call somebody and it's like, hey, send me over 10 new guys. It takes time. And now I wish I could tell you what's coming. I wish I could tell you what to prepare for. But honestly, we don't know. But what we do know is that if railroad workers are serious about getting paid sick leave into their contract, according to the reports, now is the time to do it. A handful of union representatives are saying that the best bet as of right now is to force the hand of the railroads. And how do you do that? Well, the possibility of a strike is out of the question. Okay, the legal strike, has been blocked. But do they actually go on a strike? I don't know what the ramifications of that would be, but there are other options. But according to union representatives, they say we have to force the hand of the railroad. And honestly, from what I can tell, the only way to do this is simply to be the worst worker you can be. If everybody is just the worst worker they can be, this might force the hand, or it might force the railroads to be like, you know what? You don't deserve that 24% raise over the next 5 years. You don't deserve the up to $11,000 in back pay and bonuses. We're not going to pay you. So again, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of back and forth. I don't see this negotiation being done yet, but we should have an answer very soon. But the last thing I want to tell you, and this is where this could turn into a major problem, is if railroad workers decide to either do the silent strike or be the worst worker they can possibly be, the issue is we may see our supply chain get disrupted once again. Product is going to move slower. This is things like coal. It's things like fuel, grain, right? Automotive parts. Everything is going to slow down. So again, this would be a problem because if we have more disruptions in our supply chain, this means prices are going to go back up. So I wish I could tell you some better news, but honestly, this is possibly the best news that we have right now. There's a lot of other stuff going on within the world and within the United States. I will break down all that stuff later on today and later on this week. But if you have any questions whatsoever, or you have a suggestion of something that you would like to be discussed here on this channel, make sure you do me a favor. Go ahead, comment down in the comment section below. Also, do me two other favors. hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, click the subscribe button so you never miss an update. But there you go. That's what we got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.